It is being called the moment Western governments officially declared war on the big tech to save a generation. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has just announced a sweeping radical law that will completely ban children in the United Kingdom under the age of 16 from using major social media platforms. And this legislation means the legal age to open an account on TikTok, on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, X will instantly jump from 13 to 16. While basic utility messaging services like WhatsApp and Signal will remain exempt to let families communicate, the entertainment applications that dominate teenagers' lives are facing a total blackout. The UK government is pushing further than any country before it, actively introducing late-night digital curfews to kill the infinite scroll, proposing automated mandatory usage breaks for under 18s, and completely blocking live streaming and stranger contact features inside popular online video games. Starmer framed the decision clearly, stating that it is time to give children their childhoods back from multi-billion-dollar algorithms designed to be addicting.
Laws are rules, but they're also an expression of our values. They shape the social contract. And so this will change the conversations that parents have and the expectations of children over time. It will make a huge difference. It will make our children safer. It will make our children happier. And will give them more time, more security, more freedom to grow up, more opportunity.
Well, it will make our children safer, but will it make them happier? That's a big question. Several other countries have already moved in that same direction. Australia introduced an absolute ban for children under 16 with heavy fines for platforms that break the rules. Malaysia has barred children under 16 from opening new accounts. You've got Norway and Denmark that are raising the age of digital consent to 15. Poland, Slovenia, and Italy, they're also working on laws that set strict age limits or require parental consent. China has taken a different approach by introducing time limits, night curfews, and a special youth mode on the platforms. And this global momentum brings an immediate but urgent question to our doorstep. Is it time for India to build its own digital wall to protect its children? The conversation here is active, and in some states, it is already moving towards policy. Karnataka was the first state to propose a social media ban for children under 16, announcing it during the state budget earlier this year. Andhra Pradesh followed, saying it would block access for children under 13. Goa is looking at an Australia-style model. Bihar is examining what age verification might look like legally. The intent across these states is genuine. But here is the problem. Under India's constitutional framework, digital regulation is a union subject. State governments can signal intent, but only the central government can actually enforce a nationwide ban. Without the parliament acting, what individual states announce remains largely symbolic. And enforcement itself is the harder question. Nearly half the country's population lives in rural or semi-urban areas where a mobile phone is often the only gateway to education, to information, and to opportunity. Age verification at the scale India would need raises serious privacy concerns. Children who want access will find ways around a ban as well. There are VPNs that are already widely used by minors, and shared devices within families make individual age checks extremely difficult. Some experts also warn that a blunt ban without better platform design could actually push children into less regulated corners of the internet where they are harder to protect. The big question that we're trying to underscore: how do you actually stop a determined 16-year-old from getting around an age ban? Can a one-size-fits-all ban work in India without leaving the most vulnerable children further behind? And should India focus more on forcing platforms themselves to redesign their features for safety rather than imposing a complete ban? Lavi Raj Gupta, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Lovely Professional University, with us on the broadcast, and Harpriya Bains, stand-up comedian and somebody who's a crucial voice when it comes to the internet, with us on the broadcast as well. Ms. Bains, let's get the snowball rolling with you first. What do you think? What's your assessment here? Does banning actually work? Because banning social media, is that really the answer, or the governments, they're taking the easy route instead of fixing the platforms themselves, pulling them up for their accountability? Teenagers today, they practically live online. There is endless amount of scrolling that happens. If you ban, let's say, Instagram, TikTok, won't they simply move to real dark corners on the internet, VPNs, fake accounts, the unregulated portions of the internet where they're again going to be, out of protection?
Thank you for having me. Yes, I kind of agree with you to some level. I do not think that abstinence and blanket ban is the solution. I think regulation with awareness is the real solution. See, kids are a curious lot. Children are curious. The moment you tell them don't do this, they will be doing just that. And we see them right from the toddler mode till right. And a blanket ban, how is it supposed to work in a country like India? And I mean, forget those details. Even now, the moment you tell children, not to do something, we've seen that with drugs, with alcohol, with all of that. Children will find a way to get around and do what they just want to do. The moment you ban it, it's gone. They will definitely find the loopholes. And like you're saying, there are other ways to, come around. Like there's VPN, and what about games like Roblox and, all those other unregulated platforms, which are actually even more harmful. So I feel that I hope that doesn't actually, a blanket ban like that can actually kids can land up spending, the kids will land up spending more time on those kind of platforms, which can be even more harmful. And secondly, I do not think in a country like India, where, like you're saying, that in rural areas, in the vast tier 1, tier 2 cities will, children, even if you put a blanket ban, they will have some kind of source of, getting out information. They will have access to other information. But what about the far and wide places? What about the rural areas? What about the tier 3 cities and all of that, where social media is actually helping to keep them informed, to, kind of educate them as also. And there are so many children who are actually already becoming YouTubers. They're earning an income for their families. They are either helping their parents to, use that social media platform, or they themselves have become an earning
You're absolutely
member
right.
right
I
from
don't
the age
disagree
of
with you a single bit. I think social media and these devices and gadgets have really empowered those very children that you're talking about. But if the United Kingdom, Australia, Malaysia, Indonesia, they have similar problems as well. Of course, the demography and the size is a completely different ballgame when we bring India into the picture. But these countries, they're all moving in a particular direction. Are they essentially seeing a problem that India is still, it has noticed it, but it's ignoring it?
I'm sure we're not ignoring it. The problems are there across the world. All countries are facing this problem. I have 2 children, and they are going to be past, both of them are almost past 16. One of them is 20, the other one is going to be 16. So I'm sure they'll have a sigh of relief if this ban comes here. But to tell you very honestly, of course, I mean, especially during COVID, we saw that. We saw the over-addiction of children on, social media, because nowadays, homeworks are coming on WhatsApp. The teachers are also giving homework through that. There's no concept of going to a library. Everybody is just accessing information through, social media and all of that. So, of course, the harmful effects are definitely there. But I feel the blanket ban is not going to serve any purpose. It is only, the tech companies, the government, the policymakers, the parents, we kind of have to work together to form some kind of a regulation, some kind of a controlled atmosphere for our children. Like you're saying, China, they have controlled hours and things like that. Maybe things like that will work a little bit better, where we can control. Parents need to know, how to control the timings within the household, because loopholes will come. So parents need to be probably a little more stern about controlling it, have bedtime routines or whatever. And even the government policies and regulations need to be there to maybe control a little bit, but a blanket ban is not going to solve the purpose. It's not going to. It's going to make them even more curious, and it's going to make them, I think, even more addicted to it. And how will we control it? Because mobile phones, they all will have. They will find. And I think there are, I still feel things like Roblox and, I think there was something else, the things like that which are even more harmful. That's what I feel.
All right. Many thanks for your opening submission here. Mr. Gupta, what's your assessment here? Do you concur, echo along the points of what Ms. Benz just put out on the table? Do you also consider that these are very strong measures, and India has to be looked under a different, lens altogether, not to be clubbed with what's happening in Australia or Malaysia or the United Kingdom?
Steve, we should not be following any of the regulations as is basis, because we need to understand the psyche. We need to understand the basic upbringing and the basic psychology among Indian children. We need to look into. I would agree to Ms. Benz to an extent, that if you impose a complete ban, that will actually curate more curiosity of using it. And there is no ways and means by which you can actually keep track of people citing their age while actually registering for a particular application or for a particular facility
Yeah.
onto the internet. We'll have to create a trade-off. We'll have to create a policy in which we create guardrails, a very well defined and a very well, notified guardrails in which I would agree to Ms. Baines that there has to be an equitable participation of policymakers, the parents, the teachers, and the children by themselves. See, if you make people aware about certain things, they'll be more happily and healthily taking up that. There are not restrictions to be imposed upon. This is more about awareness to be brought up. See, technically, I can talk about it that any of the platform can very well restrict the screen time. They can very well restrict what kind of content is to be floated to what device. We need to sit together with the service providers.
No, you're right.
We,
Professor Gupta, let's look at it from the perspective and from the point of view of these big tech companies. You see, social media companies, tomorrow Instagram or TikTok are going to come to you and they're going to say, you see, our platforms are helping connect people. Why do you believe that, social media has become a public health concern that is now being compared to tobacco, is being compared to gambling? And whilst I'm asking you this, are we, because it is still early doors, we don't have this law, we're just talking about what's happening across the world, and it's important that we talk about our young generation as well. Are we underestimating the impact of endless scrolling? It's called doom scrolling. Sometimes I'm a victim to that. I do it for hours on end. Dopamine-driven algorithms, sleep disruption, all of these are serious problems that need to be tackled as well.
See, basically, technology, I always talk about it. Technology would always force you to react. Technology is meant to create reactions in individual. And those reactions are so subtle. Those reactions are so addictive that
Yeah.
you basically forget that what are you reacting upon. But then, if there is an awareness, and that awareness creates a very clear-cut divide between information and misinformation, a clear-cut divide between the kind of view you are doing and that view, what kind of value it is bringing to
All right.
you as an individual. That will make the sole difference.
Okay.
See, we should not ban the social media completely because it has its own positive sides as well. The
Absolutely.
kind of information to which these children are exposed is something which is unthought of till today. But then we'll have to create barriers, we'll have to create thresholds that to what level this information is to be percolated, to what level.
Okay,
And
so
that
what I'm getting is that, with both my panelists here, I think we're converging towards a diagnosis. It seems like there is a little bit of a problem here. We understand our young ones are, they're curious. We need to understand their psyche as well. A blanket ban is not necessarily going to help in this situation. But you see, my final question to you, Ms. Benz, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Goa, they're already discussing restrictions. These are our policymakers as well. You're suggesting that India should not be moving towards a national under 16 social media ban. Okay, all right, we agree to that. But if you had to choose just one of those reforms, because you gave the example of China, we've cited so many examples on the show, social media ban, smartphone ban in school, restrictions on addictive features like autoplay, curfews on those scrolling, which do you think is going to have the biggest impact and should be started soon?
I think I would say it should be age-appropriate experiences should be given to all children. And secondly, it's the time. I think somehow if we can add a default time onto the apps, like there are apps that you can upload on your phone and, you can monitor your own, like I do that for my Instagram or for my whatever. But maybe for children under 16, there can be default time related bans like, that, for example, a child cannot use Instagram or YouTube beyond 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever, and that can come within, control of their parents. Their parents can decide that, and it should be like a default, or maybe the apps, tech apps can, all these big techs can do it themselves. That for under 16, like for example, there's already limited data, a limited, kind of data that goes to these children under 16. Whatever they scroll, there is, they are not, they can't go on everything. So age appropriate is already there, but maybe I think the time is the crucial thing. So if that time can be controlled to 2 hours or 3 hours, so that children are also happy कि ये 2-3 घंटे हमें मिल रहे हैं for scrolling, and they will not go beyond that. The app will shut down after that by default. So I think that should work. So they are not even, they're not.
With so much of our lives on social media, ma'am, do you think that's not going to raise major hue and cry in households? I think parents are going to have a tough time if something like this is actually implemented.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that, somewhere we have to draw the line. Somewhere, if parents only want that, yeah, my child is doom scrolling so much, then parents have to come to this kind of threshold or something. They have to at least agree somewhere कि yeah, my child is scrolling too much, so fine. The child gets 3 hours or 4 hours in a day, and that's it. उसके बाद अपने बच्चे अपने आप संभालिए.
All right then. I think it's important that we continue having these, discussions. It's equally important because this is about our future generation. It's incumbent on us to have these kind of questions, even if a national ban is coming or not coming. Protecting children online is no longer a debate confined to parents in schools. Now, governments, they're stepping in, and rightly so. Whether bans are the answer or not, one thing is certainly clear, that the battle for our children's attention and their safety and their mental health, it has only just begun. Many thanks, Professor Gupta. Many thanks, Ms. Bains, for speaking to us here on News9 and taking out the time.
Thank you.